The weird thing about life is that it never goes how you think it will. Right now, deep inside the Shinjuku dungeon, two girls are yelling at Harushik while he's standing in front of some dark, creepy entity called the Void. "What are you doing here?" they shout. But hold up, rewind the story. Harushik can't even process what's happening. Like, bro, how did I go from being an office drone a month ago to facing off against some demonic final boss? He stretches out his hand toward the thing and activates his skill, Dominate. Anyway, let's roll it back to a month earlier. Our guy was the literal definition of overworked and underpaid, grinding away at the office with 4 all-nighters a week. 4. Man's overtime hours could probably beat Elon Musk's entire company record. And for what? No bonuses, no promotions, no raises, just pure corporate misery. Honestly, you gotta wonder why he even stayed that long. But hey, the universe threw him a weird blessing that day. He got fired. 16 years in the same company, gone at 38, and not even a goodbye gift or severance. Brutal. He walks out right then and there, and as he passes a huge building wrapped around a tree, he just plops down on a bench like, maybe it's time I try being an explorer or something. So what's an explorer anyway? Well, 50 years ago, random buildings across the world suddenly morphed in a monster-packed labyrinth. People started calling it dungeonization. And of course, the world did what it does best, turn it into a business. Out of that mess came a new job, explorers. Their mission's simple: beat the boss monster inside, and the building goes back to normal. Harugura checks out an ad about becoming an explorer and steps into this massive high-rise building. Inside, he sees people dressed like they just came out of an RPG. Fancy gear, cool weapons, the whole package. A PR voice starts playing like it's a commercial. Some people fight to reclaim the world. Others just want to flex their strength, and the rest are in it for treasure. Basically, everyone's got their own reason. Then, the poster girl shows up, hyping people to chase their dreams and join the explorer life. But right before the ad ends, there's this teeny tiny disclaimer saying they're not responsible for injuries or, death. Classic. The lady running orientation finishes her speech and asks if he's got questions. Our guy, being one of the few still using his brain, asks about that very sketchy disclaimer. But like any corporate NPC, she dodges the question and smoothly moves on to the next part. She leads him to this giant stone tablet thing for registration. For simplicity, we'll just call her Lady. She tells him to put his hand on the stone, say his name and age, and he does. A moment passes. Nothing. Dude's like, am I doing this right? Lady gives him this polite but judgy look before assuring him that it's fine, totally normal. They sometimes get people his age too. "Yeah, sure. We believe you, lady." Anyway, orientation done, registration done. Next up, she tells him to say status. The moment he does, a screen pops up in front of him that only he can see. Lady explains it's his explorer stat sheet. Shows his current level. Spoiler, level 1. Beat monsters, get XP, level up. Easy. But the big deal here? Skills. She says skills are special powers you gain through talent or years of training, and everyone starts with a few random ones. Whether you get a good skill or a trash one, pure luck. She's being nice, saying maybe he rolled something good. So he checks, and oh boy, his screen shows appraisal and world tame. Even Lady can't hide the disappointment on her face. Those are about as basic as it gets. She explains anyway. Appraisal lets him check monster stats or see other explorers' info. Kinda handy. But world tame? Yeah, she's not even sure. Apparently, Tame is one of the bottom 3 starter skills in existence. It uses spirit points, SP, to control monsters, which sounds cool until you realize weak ones are too dumb to listen and strong ones are too stubborn to obey. Plus, it burns a ton of SP, and even if you succeed, the control barely lasts. Basically, the skill's trashed here. After that awkward moment, the air between them gets heavy. Still, Lady forces a smile and wishes him luck on his new explorer life. Cut to the lobby. Explorers everywhere, chatting, flexing, getting ready. Our man's holding a tiny starter pack and wearing that fresh newbie arm badge. He saw this coming. Honestly, it's not like he planned to make a career out of it anyway. It was pure impulse. Still, clutching that cheap gear bag, he finally realizes, yeah, dude's got zero talent. But hey, what did you expect from a washed-up 38-year-old rookie? Then he hears noise. Everyone's hyped about something. Of course, his curiosity kicks in. He looks over and hears someone say, "Yo, the Absolute Knights are here." A squad of 4 walks in, front guys decked in armor, total main character energy, with 3 others following behind. One of them, a girl with a long ponytail, is literally carrying a dragon's head like it's groceries. The other explorers lose their minds, talking about how the Absolute Knights are hitting Shinjuku next. Even Harugura can tell they're top tier. Just for fun, he uses his appraisal skill on Ponytail Girl. The screen pops up. Kokonoi Sakurako, 24 years old, human, level 139. Her skill list? Absolutely stacked. Great sword, appraisal, mental resistance, emergency dodge, and way more. Dude's stunned. She's younger, stronger, and living the dream while he's barely starting. Lady did say skills come from talent and hard work, huh? Harugura sighs, turns away from the crowd, and decides, fine, he'll just go beat one weak monster near the entrance. Gotta start somewhere, right? That should have been enough to leave a mark from his short explorer career, right? Nope. He walks off, totally unaware that Sakurako's watching him. One of her teammates notices and asks what's up. She shrugs it off like, nah, it's nothing, but in her head she's thinking something definitely fell off. Probably just her imagination, though. Next thing we know, our dude Hashiger's at the Nepari dungeon for his big debut. Man didn't even change clothes, still rocking the salaryman drip with a random chest plate thrown on like that's going to save him. He hypes himself up anyway. Lady recommended Nepari for newbies since the monsters are weaker here and deaths are relatively rare. Keyword, relatively. So yeah, still possible to die. She also told him to head back to the guild to report once done, kind of like explorer orientation homework. He steps into the cave, and what's this? The inside looks exactly like an office hallway. Great. His workplace PTSD hits instantly. The scene's identical to the late nights when he'd stay for overtime, and the flashbacks come flooding in, his boss yelling at him for not finishing reports, even though the old dude said he'd handle them. Typical gaslighting boomer boss energy. So what does Hashiger do? Owns up and finishes it himself, of course. Man was built for corporate pain. That memory vanishes fast, and he shakes it off like, nah, we're not doing that again. I'm an explorer now. He might not have talent, but he's got free time, some savings, and 0 cares left to give. He carefully looks around the dark cavern, on alert for monsters. That's when he hears a little squeaky sound. He turns and bam, his first monster encounter. A slime. A tiny, bouncy blob. And bro thinks it's adorable. Wait, that's it? This is a monster. He thinks, still low-key geeking out over how cute it is. He uses appraisal. Yep, level 1 slime with 2 skills, tackle and absorb. But while he's distracted by the stats screen, the little blob zooms in and slams him right in the stomach. Dude goes flying. Oof. Turns out level 1 monsters hit just as hard as level 1 explorers. He checks his stats and realizes that hit cost him 8 SP. So he can take, 6 more before he croaks? Great odds. Slime's charging again. He spots it and panics. Does he dodge? Counter? Both? That's when he notices his second skill on the screen, World Tame. Time to test it. As the slime lunges, Hashiger raises his hand and yells, "Dominate!" His hand glows, light shoots out, and then silence. The cave goes dark again except for his heavy breathing. But something's different. The slime's just sitting there calmly with a little text bubble above its head, saying it's awaiting orders. Wait, no way it worked. His useless skill actually worked. Then suddenly his knees give out. He feels nauseous and checks his SP. It cost him 40 points to pull that off. Painful. But hey, compared to his office all-nighters, this is child's play. He can handle it. He looks at the slime again, remembering what Lady said about weak monsters being too dumb to obey. But this one's just sitting there like a good little blob. So he tests it, tells it to jump. The slime hops. Yo, it actually listens. Maybe his skill isn't so trash after all. He grins and tells it to stop. But now he's curious. Cut to later. Hashiger finds another slime, but this time he's not solo. He calls out his first tamed one, now proudly named Hama, and commands it to attack. Hama bounces in like a champ and slams the other slime, giving Hashiger an opening to slice it in half. Victory! Dude's hyped. He's taken out 5 slimes today. He checks his stats. already level 8. His HP and SP are higher, and he's unlocked new skills: mental resistance, knife, and emergency dodge. Even Hama's bouncing around excitedly like a little cheerleader. For a second, Hashiger spaces out again, remembering those lonely nights at the office, working under the glow of his monitor like a zombie. But Hama's happy noises pull him back. He pats the slime's head, smiling. "Guess I got my first underling," he says. Then he decides to explore just a bit more before heading home. He steps out of Nepari, blinking at the bright light, and before he can even stretch, Lady comes sprinting up completely out of breath. She's panting, then immediately scolds him. Didn't she tell him to report back right after finishing? He apologizes and says he literally just got out. But she's freaking out. Wait, did he just say just now? That means he's been inside for over 15 hours straight. Dude's like, "Oh, that? My bad. Guess my old work habits kicked in again." He laughs, saying he didn't even notice time flying. 15 hours of non-stop fighting monsters. And surprisingly, he enjoyed it. Way better than the endless grind of office life. At least this job gives XP. Lady, still trying to process, asks if he leveled up. He shrugs, "Yeah, a bit." She presses for details. He checks his screen and casually says, "I hit level 8 today." Lady freezes. Level 8? In one day? Even the fastest newbies take a week to reach level 1. This man's growth is straight up unnatural. Still stunned, she doesn't say a word until Hashiger thanks her politely for all the help and walks off. As she watches him leave, she can't help thinking, who even is this guy? Yamamoto Hiroshijai? Cut to the train ride home. Our dude's sitting there, holding his explorer gear, staring at the ceiling with a small smile. He mutters, "Well, today was kind of fun." Then it hits him. He's actually thinking about tomorrow. Our guy remembers those usual train rides, packed with other 9-to-5 zombies, all heading to their doom. Same routine every day. Type his soul away in front of a monitor, go home to his sad little apartment, and repeat. Man's been living on autopilot for years. Bro hasn't looked forward to a single tomorrow in forever. He cracks a small smile now, wondering what's waiting for him next. Clutching his gear bag tighter, he's actually hyped for once. Cut to the office, and someone's getting roasted alive. Thankfully, it's not Hashiger this time. The section chief's going full boss mode on a poor girl, slamming her report and barking that she's not going home till it's done. Ouch! She bows, whispers sorry, and walks out like her soul just left her body. She passes Hashiger's desk, and Bro's about to ask if she needs help when, boom, the boss flips on him instead, demanding those papers from earlier. Great. Hashiger does what all corporate survivors do: nod, obey, and feel bad in silence while watching her walk away like a defeated NPC. Then bam, he wakes up drenched in sweat. A nightmare. He still dreams about that stupid job. Bro, let it go. He yanks the curtain open, reminding himself he ain't a salary man anymore. Time to change lanes. The morning light hits, and suddenly he's like, "All right, let's grind." Feeling bold, he heads to the Shinjuku dungeon. Upper levels only, though let's not get crazy. 2 goblins pop up, snarling like they want smoke. But our dude, different breed now. He slices both clean in 2 like it's nothing. 3rd goblin tries a sneak attack, but before it even blinks, a blur takes it down. Hashiger turns around grinning. "Nice work, team." His squad? 3 slimes. Sura Ichiro, Surajuro, and Surasaburo. Bro really named them like a boy band lineup. Anyway, there's still a bunch of goblins left, and Hashiger's planning to push just a bit farther than yesterday. But hold up, flashback time. After his first dungeon run, Lady Manager practically exploded at him. What were you thinking? She can't believe he brought a monster out of the dungeon. First, he pulled an all-nighter inside. Now this? Walking hazard alert. She's about to snitch to the higher-ups, but Hashiger panics too, swearing he didn't mean to. Apparently, when he opened his bag, a slime was just chilling inside. He's clueless how to untame it. Lady's like, "Yeah, this is bad, but also weird." Usually, using skills outside dungeon zones sets off instant alarms. But this time, nada. Dude hasn't been flagged once. She squints at him, thinking how he leveled up 8 times and somehow unlocked a skill no one's ever seen before. Suspicious much? She debates reporting him, but the paperwork sounds like pure suffering. So after a deep sigh, she's like, "Fine, you're good for now." Hashiger's shocked. You sure about that? She shrugs, saying since no alerts went off and he's not abusing monsters, technically he's not breaking rules. Then mutters something about how she just doesn't want to deal with forms. Totally believable. She warns him not to parade his slimes around again. She nearly had a heart attack seeing that. He agrees instantly. Oh, and one more thing. Lady asks if he's thought about exploring the Shinjuku dungeon next. It's way bigger than Aporii, but the top floors are perfect for rookies. Basically, it's the next difficulty tier. Normally you'd need more XP, but she figures Hashiger can handle it. Monsters there are just slightly stronger than slimes. Fast forward to now. Hashiger's slicing through goblins like it's a workout montage. Before long, there's a literal pile of corpses behind him. He remembers Lady's words and side-eyes the goblins like, this is your idea of slightly stronger? Still, man's already level 19 with 2 new skills, detection and fighting spirit. The goblins' bodies start disintegrating, leaving behind only their fangs. Gross. He uses appraisal. Each fang's worth 500 to 800 yen. Nice pocket change. He sighs, hand on his hip, thinking about how he's not an office drone anymore. He's an explorer now. His new motto, do only what he wants, skip what he doesn't. Then he stares at the fang, shrugs, and picks it up anyway. Bro still needs rent money. So yeah, he'll avoid what he doesn't want to do as much as possible. Out of nowhere, the slime squad zooms in. Sura Ichiro, Surajuro, and Sura Saburo. Yeah, bro named them like a copy-paste glitch. The first one's rocking level 13. Second is level 8, and the baby of the group's level 7. Hashiger pats one like, good job, Jelly Bro, before sending them to keep scouting. Looking at his gooey little crew, dude feels lucky to have them. Too bad, he can only keep 3 active at once. Also, can't exactly take them home. Imagine pulling up to the grocery store with 3 bouncy blobs. Anyway, they find another goblin. So our man slices it up, pockets its fang, and dives deeper into the dungeon grind. It's been rinse and repeat ever since, his bag practically bursting with goblin teeth. Nice haul, but the fangs are so cheap it's giving minimum wage quest energy. So yeah, more grinding it is. Then he spots this dark, creepy cave and gets that treasure might be hiding here, brain spark. He sends Sura Ichiro to check it out. The slime hops in all eager while Hashiger just waits, thinking it's probably empty. But hey, a little hope never hurts, right? Then he hears something grab the slime. Oh, something's definitely off. Hashiger rushes in calling out to Sura Ichiro, and boom, he walks into something he should have never seen. 3 dudes got a girl pinned down, and they're just as shocked to see him. Bro's like, what the hell are y'all doing? One of them stands up all casual like, mind your business, Grandpa. Hashiger scans him with appraisal. Name's date Takuma, 22 years old, level 27, rocking swordsmanship, dodge hacks, and some restraint magic. Basically, this guy's a mini-boss compared to our dude. Takuma strolls over, kicks the poor slime like it's a soccer ball, and goes, so your skills just taming this weak blob? Hashiger stays quiet. So this clown keeps talking, saying only trash tames trash, with trash skills and trash levels. Man's doing stand-up comedy at this point. Then he smirks like, wait, maybe we should let this old guy join the fun too. His goons hold the girl tighter as she cries harder. She looks at Hashiger, eyes begging for help, and something inside him snaps. He remembers that office girl from before, the one everyone failed to help. Back then, gossip flew around that the department was to blame for her death, and he just sat there listening while people argued about whose fault it was. He hated himself for doing nothing. Now here he is again, slimed down, girl in danger, history repeating itself. He clenches his fists, lowers his head, and mutters that he's not the same guy anymore. This time, he's living by his own rules. He won't do what he doesn't want to do, but right now, he wants to save her, no matter what. Takuma whips out his axe the second pops, says, save her. Oh, he's mad now. Forget the flirting. This dude's ready to straight up delete our man and feed him to the dungeon mobs. As he's winding up for the swing, Hashiger doesn't even flinch. He just stands there, focuses, flips his palm up like a budget anime hero, and shouts, Tame. Everyone freezes. Whole scene turns into a lag spike. Both of them stare each other down like statues. Then Hashiger calmly orders, leave. Don't ever show your face near her again. And don't hurt anyone. Ever. The silence drags on. Then the two goons start laughing their guts out. Bro really just tried to tame a human? They're roasting him hard, calling him clueless and dumb. They tell Takuma to go ahead and finish the job. Crack Pop's skull open already. But then Takuma drops his axe. Huh? The others are like, yo, what's your problem? Takuma just mutters, voice shaking, I'm going home. Then repeats it, over and over. Dude's glitched. He starts walking toward the exit, mumbling the same thing, while his buddies panic and chase after him with his weapon. Meanwhile, Hashiger frees the girl, telling her it's all good now and handing her a healing potion. As she drinks, he stares at his hand like, what the heck just happened? He acted purely on instinct, no plan, no logic, and somehow it worked on a human? That ain't normal. He clenches his fist, thinking, yeah, this skill's definitely built different. The girl finally speaks, thanking him for saving her. She introduces herself as Asazuki Makoto, 18 years old, level 16 archer. Hashiger asks if she's hurt. She says she's fine. Thank goodness. She tries to pay him back for the potion, but he's like, nah, you're good. Says he just wanted to help, while holding poor Sura Ichiro like a baby. Makoto's jaw drops. She insists on paying anyway because it must have cost a fortune. Hashiger keeps brushing it off, saying he hasn't even used it yet. She still won't give up, so to end the loop, he stands up and starts walking off, saying her being safe is good enough. Before he can leave, Makoto grabs his shirt, eyes blazing with determination, and asks if he'll form a party with her. Huh. Fast forward. They're now sitting near the dungeon entrance. She's across from him, thanking him again and doing a polite bow. Hashiger mirrors it, introducing himself too. She explains those 3 jerks earlier were actually her party members, but surprise, they were novice hunters. Hashiger repeats the term, confused. So Makoto explains, novice hunters are scammers who bait clueless newbies into dungeons, rob them blind, and sometimes even kill them. And since dungeon deaths don't get investigated, nobody ever knows. Remember that little explore at your own risk warning from the intro vid? Yeah, that's why. Turns out, she fell for the classic, earn $1 million a day, no experience needed scam. Listening to her story, Hashiger feels bad. But still, after what just happened, does she really want to team up with him? What if he's shady too? Makoto's eyes widen. Wait, are you? He quickly explains it's just a what if, chill out. She sighs in relief, and now he's just worried she might be too trusting. He admits he's barely a week into this explore gig and doesn't even know how parties work. So she explains, forming a party lets you transfer loot easier and share XP. Hashiger's like, wait, what? Shared XP? She breaks it down. If a monster's worth 100 XP and they both fight it, he gets his 100 and also a bonus from hers, another 100. Basically, free XP just for existing. Kinda cracked, honestly. Makoto then admits she's broke and needs money badly. So here's her deal. She'll hunt every day, and he can take the XP bonus as thanks. It's the only thing she can offer. Hashiger thinks about it for a sec, starts to say something about turning her down, but she jumps up, leaning in like, nope. A favor's a favor. I have to repay you. After some thought, he finally agrees, but with one condition. They go into the dungeon together and split all loot 50/50ths. If she's fine with that, it's a deal. She's not thrilled, but she agrees. Still, she insists he tell her if he ever feels uncomfortable, she'll fix it no matter what. To calm her down, Hashiger nods and says he will. Internally, he's thinking she's sweet, but maybe a little too intense. While they're making their little pact, somewhere deeper in the dungeon, other adventurers are losing their minds staring at a giant dark-skinned cyclops that's definitely not supposed to be on that floor. The thing's massive and terrifying. Back to our duo, Hashiger suggests they call it a day. Makoto tries to argue, saying she's fine, but one serious look from the old man shuts that down instantly. He tells her there's no need to rush. Better safe than sorry, he says calmly. Makoto apologizes for causing more trouble, but before he can even reply, boom. A deafening crash shakes the whole dungeon, dust raining from above. Hashiger instantly turns toward the noise, pointing out that it's close, too close. Moments later, one of the explorers from earlier stumbles out of the shadows, bloodied and barely standing. He reaches out for help. Then a massive foot slams down right beside him, cracking the ground. Everyone freezes. A giant, dark-skinned cyclops glares down at them, its single glowing eye cutting through the dark like a searchlight. Hashiger rushes to grab the injured man, eyes locked on the towering monster. "What the hell is that thing?" he mutters. Makoto's voice trembles. "It's a cyclops, but that's impossible. We're too close to the surface for something like this." Hashiger wraps an arm around the wounded explorer. "We're leaving. Now, you go first." But Makoto hesitates. If they run, the cyclops will catch them easily. She can't just ditch them again. Not this time. Steam hisses from the monster's mouth as it exhales, its gaze fixed on them. Makoto grips her bow, face hardening. "I'll hold off. Go." Without looking back, she looses an arrow straight at its glowing eye. The arrow grazes past, missing by inches. The cyclops roars and swings its hand down to crush her, but she dives aside just in time, dirt spraying up around her. She scrambles to her feet and fires again, miss. "Come on," she yells, frustrated. If only she could slow it down somehow. Meanwhile, Hashiger's already outside the cavern with the injured guy, but he can't help glancing back. Makoto's still in there, running, dodging, gasping for air. The cyclops towers over her now, its huge hand rising like a falling ceiling. She freezes, her whole life flashing in an instant. Her mom, sick in bed. Her siblings, waiting for her. The promise she made, smiling through tears. "I'll take care of everything, so please get better." Then that flyer. Become an explorer, no experience needed. That choice led her here, to this exact moment. She squeezes her eyes shut, bracing for the hit. But it never comes. Makoto opens her eyes and gasps. Hashiger's there, blocking the Cyclops' strike with his sword, his three slimes straining beside him to hold the monster back. She shouts his name, panic flooding her voice. His blade cracks under the pressure, but he doesn't back down. Gritting his teeth, Hashiger raises his other hand toward the beast. "Tame!" Light bursts from his palm, wrapping around the Cyclops. The giant freezes mid-motion, trembling as the spell takes hold. "Makoto!" Hashiger yells. "Now! You got this!" Snapped back to reality, she steadies her breath, draws her bow one last time, and fires straight into the monster's glowing eye. Bullseye! The Cyclops lets out a final guttural roar before collapsing with a ground-shaking thud. Makoto rushes over, apologizing through tears. "I'm sorry, this is all my fault." But Hashiger just looks at her quietly. When he finally speaks her name, she braces for a scolding, but instead, he smiles. "From now on, I want to rely on you too. We're a team, remember?" Makoto blinks, stunned. Then that heavy feeling in her chest fades, replaced by something lighter. Even if it's hard for her to accept help, she nods, smiling through tears. "Yeah, we are." As Hashiger smiles at her, the camera cuts away. Somewhere else, a voice speaks. So it's true then, the mighty Absolute Knights are finally diving into the Shinjuku dungeon. Huh? The woman being asked, Sakurako, doesn't even flinch. She just turns away, saying she doesn't bother with confidence checks. For her, it's simple survival of the fittest, no matter where you are. She heads for the door, pausing only to thank the person for the blade she's taking with her. The shopkeeper sighs as she leaves. One of her best customers won't be around for a while. "Guess it's going to be quiet again," she mutters. What a drag. The next morning, the scene shifts to Explorer Alley, a bustling hub overflowing with adventurers of every level. Merchants shout from all directions, one bragging about the cheapest potions in town, another yelling about grilled eel that comes with a bonus vial. It's chaos, but organized chaos. Located just 2 minutes from Ueno Station, this sanctioned guild marketplace has everything. Weapons, armor, supplies. If you need it to survive a dungeon, you'll find it here. Right in the middle of all that noise is our guy, Harushig, looking completely overwhelmed. Makoto told him this would be the perfect place to replace his busted weapon, but he didn't expect this much variety. Just then, she waves her phone at him. She's found a top-tier weapons dealer online with the highest ratings. Harushig shrugs. Honestly, he kind of liked the vibe of the last shop they went to. "Anywhere's fine, right?" he says. But Makoto isn't having it. She snaps back. If he's going to buy gear, it should be from a proper, certified shop. She'll make sure he finds the perfect weapon. And so begins their shopping marathon. Makoto doing all the talking while Harushik just tries to keep up. By the end of the third store, the poor guy's exhausted, gasping for air like he's on a dungeon run instead of a shopping trip. It's giving him flashbacks to his old desk job. When he finally looks up to ask Makoto for a break, she's gone. Vanished. Harushik checks around, confused, then calls her, but no answer. With a sigh, he starts wandering, figuring she'll text him back eventually. That's when he spots a small sign down a narrow alleyway. Weapons and armor, a Nagima shop. Curiosity wins. He turns the corner, stepping into a dim brick alley where an old signboard hangs quietly above a small door. He pushes it open, and right away, the mysterious shop owner from the beginning perks up. She grins, putting out her cigarette. Well, look at that. Been a while since someone wandered in. She gets up and approaches him. Confident, smooth, completely in control. Welcome to Nagima's shop, she says with a smirk. So, what kind of weapon are you looking for? But poor Harushik can barely answer. His gaze keeps betraying him, and he ends up stuttering nonsense while looking at the ceiling. The woman mistakes it for shyness, chuckling softly as she suddenly starts checking his posture, patting along his arms and chest. He freezes up instantly. Huh, she says amused. You're pretty sturdy. Harushik blinks in confusion, but she goes on. Those calloused hands, that worn grip. He's been using gilded knives, hasn't he? He's run them to the ground, and now he's here looking for the real deal. He's impressed. She read him perfectly. Yeah, that's actually right. She laughs, realizing she forgot to introduce herself. Ayumu Nagima, she says proudly, owner of this forge. Hope you'll be a regular. Harushik introduces himself too, explaining that he's new to this whole explorer life. He's barely started. Ayumu tilts her head, intrigued. Really? You don't seem the type. You got the aura of a desk worker. He scratches the back of his neck, embarrassed, while she's not wrong. They head deeper into the shop, Ayumu leading the way as they chat. Harushik follows her, realizing he's been completely pulled along without even thinking about it. There's something about her energy, confident, teasing, sharp. He can't figure her out. In his head, blacksmiths are supposed to be gruff, middle-aged guys with sooty aprons. Not this. As if reading his thoughts, Ayumu suddenly glances back with a grin. You're wondering how someone like me can swing a hammer? Huh? He stammers, denying it immediately, but she laughs it off. Don't worry, I'll show you the forge later. But for now, why don't you try using your appraisal skill on me? Harushik blinks. How does she even know he has that? Ayumu smirks. Relax, it's fine. Explorer alleys under guild rules. Basic skill use is allowed here. Curious, he activates appraisal. A faint glow fills his vision, and the results make his jaw drop. Her blacksmithing skill is max level. Not just that, she's got mastery across multiple weapon types. Knife, dagger, one-handed sword, greatsword, axe, spear, even archery and guns. This woman isn't just a shopkeeper. She's a monster in her own right.